The arena was electric. 62 years of NBA basketball, thousands of games, millions of possessions, and generations of superstars had come down to one man dribbling up the court in a Los Angeles Lakers jersey. LeBron James, at an age when most athletes had long retired, was about to do something nobody had ever done before. The crowd rose to its feet, the scoreboard ticked, and then a mid-range fadeaway, clean through the net, and the record was official. LeBron James became the NBA's all-time leading scorer, surpassing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record that had stood for nearly 4 decades. Over 40,000 career regular season points, a number so staggering it seemed fictional. But LeBron's story was never just about points. It was about longevity, about reinvention, about showing up night after night for over 2 decades. He had won 4 NBA championships with the Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Los Angeles Lakers, each one earned in a different city, with a different team, against a different era of competition. He was not merely a scorer. He was a force of nature who had rewritten what it meant to play professional basketball. People asked, will anyone ever be there? AK this record? The answer for now was silence, because some records are not broken by the next generation, they are inherited by legends. If LeBron James redefined what a basketball player could be, then Stephen Curry redefined where a basketball player could score from. Before Curry arrived in the NBA, the three-point line was a last resort, a desperation shot at the end of a broken play. After Curry, it became a weapon, a signature, an art form. Curry's journey to becoming the NBA's all-time leader in three-pointers made was not just a statistical achievement, it was a cultural revolution. Night after night, he launched shots from distances that made analysts shake their heads and defenders panic. Off the dribble, off screens, off balance, and sometimes from what seemed like half-court. Every time the ball left his fingertips, arenas held their breath. When he broke Ray Allen's all-time three-point record at Madison Square Garden in December 2021, Curry walked over to his father, Del Curry, a former NBA sharpshooter himself, and handed him the historic ball. It was a moment of quiet poetry in the loudest arena in the world. By 2025, Curry had crossed 4,000 career three-pointers, becoming the first player in NBA history to reach that milestone. No one else was close. Teams had tried everything: double teams, switching defenses, early pressure. Nothing worked consistently. Because Curry's gift was not just physical, it was mental. He played with a joy that was almost taunting, a grin on his face as he watched another long-range bomb rattle through the net. There are nights in basketball that feel less like a sport and more like a fever dream. February 26, 2023, was one of those nights. Damian Lillard walked into the Moda Center in Portland and proceeded to score 71 points against the Houston Rockets, 13 three-pointers, 22 of 38 from the field, an absolute masterclass in scoring. He had 41 points at halftime. The crowd was already chanting his name before the third quarter began. By the time it was over, Lillard had etched his name into the NBA record books as one of only a handful of players in league history to score 70 or more points in a single game. What made it more remarkable was how normal it looked to anyone who had watched Lillard his entire career. This was Dame time, his term, his identity, his promise to opponents. When the moment was biggest, Damian Lillard was at his best. In a playoff game against the Nuggets, he had even recorded 29 points in a single half, a reminder that his elite scoring was not a one-night fluke but a consistent, reliable superpower. Coaches called timeouts, defenders switched, double teams arrived, and still, Dame found a way. The buzzer beater, a shot released before the game clock expires, was practically his signature move, delivered in moments when entire franchises were holding their breath. Every generation of NBA basketball produces its kings, and the next generation was already making its move. Ja Morant had announced himself to the world in the 2019-2020 season, winning the NBA Rookie of the Year award with performances that blended explosive athleticism with a flair for the dramatic. He was not just fast, he played above the rim, attacking the basket with a fearlessness that made highlight reels feel routine. Every game with Morant felt like a dare. Come at me and see what happens. Then there was Luka Doncic, a young Slovenian who had arrived in the NBA, already playing like a veteran. What made Luka special was not just his scoring, but his complete dominance of the game. Aim's most complex moments. He had established himself among the top young players for playoff triple-doubles recording points. rebounds, and assists in the same game, under pressure, when it mattered most. The and one play where a basket is scored through a foul, earning an additional free throw seemed invented specifically for Luka's arsenal of drives and deceptive footwork. And then there was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander SGA, whose rise had been steady, silent, and devastating. The Oklahoma City Thunder guard had evolved from a promising prospect into an MVP-caliber scorer, gliding through defenses with a deceptive slowness that somehow always resulted in him getting exactly the shot he wanted. His crossovers were surgical, his finishing was elite, his composure was that of a veteran twice his age. Kevin Durant stood 6 feet 10 inches tall and moved like a guard. That was the first contradiction. The second was that someone so long, so physically dominant, could also be so technically precise, hitting pull-up jumpers off the dribble, step backs from far beyond the arc, turnaround mid-range shots with defenders draped over him. Durant had earned 4 NBA scoring championships. During his time with the Oklahoma City Thunder years, when he was arguably the purest scorer in the league, averaging over 30 points per game and winning scoring titles like other players won games, he was relentless, efficient, and nearly unguardable. His 2 NBA championships, one with the Golden State Warriors in 2017 and 2018, came with back-to-back Finals MVP awards, confirmation that when the lights were brightest, Durant delivered. Critics questioned the path he chose to reach those championships, but no one questioned the basketball. When Durant pulled up for a deep three-way outside, off the dribble, hand in his face, and the ball dropped through the net, it was a reminder that some players operate by different rules. Basketball, at its core, is a game of rules, and those rules shape every moment of drama that unfolds on the court. The shot clock, 24 seconds in the NBA, is the heartbeat of the game. Teams must attempt a shot within that window, or possession turns over. It creates urgency. It creates creativity. When a commentator says, "shot clock at 3," every player on the court shifts into emergency mode. The "and one" is one of basketball's most electric moments. TS when a player scores through contact, and the referee signals a foul. The basket counts. 1 free throw follows. In a tightly contested game, an and one can swing momentum completely. It rewards courage and punishes reckless defending. The technical foul for hanging on the rim speaks to the game's respect for both equipment and sportsmanship. Unnecessary rim hanging lingering after a dunk without a defensive purpose draws an immediate technical foul under NBA rules. It is a small detail, but every rule in basketball exists for a reason. And then there is the buzzer beater, perhaps the purest form of drama the sport produces. A shot released as the final second expires, the ball arching through the air while the horn blares, thousands of fans frozen in collective suspense. It is the moment LeBron James has lived for, the moment Damian Lillard was built for, the moment that turns a game into a memory. These are the stories that basketball writes, night after night, across 82 regular season games, and then the pressure cooker of the playoffs. Records are set by men who refuse to accept limitations. Rules are honored by a sport that values both skill and fairness, and every number. Every point, every three-pointer, every scoring title represents thousands of hours of practice, sacrifice, and singular dedication. LeBron James crossed 40,000 points because he never stopped working. Stephen Curry became the greatest shooter in history because he took millions of shots in empty gyms. Damian Lillard scored 71 in a night because clutch moments never scared him. Ja Morant won Rookie of the Year because he played every game like it was his last. Kevin Durant won 4 scoring titles because his talent was matched only by his hunger. And Luka Doncic, SGA, and the next generation are already writing their own chapters. The hardwood is timeless. The records may fall. The rules may evolve. But the legends, they endure.